The Gauteng Department of Education says 4 classrooms and learner material worth about 4 million rand have been destroyed in a fire at a school in Evaton in the Vaal. The principal of Tokelo Secondary School received information in the early hours of the morning that the school was on fire. Firefighters were dispatched to the scene and managed to put out the blaze. Gauteng Education spokesperson Mabona joins me on the line now. Thanks so much for your time on SABC News this evening. So what information do we have about the burning of the school and possibly who may be responsible?
Well, we can confirm that the school was actually torched because the firefighters and the officials on the ground, they did confirm that there's nothing that has been seen as any cause besides it being an arson. So we just want to call upon members of the community to say if there's someone who might have witnessed anything, they need to assist the police so that we can then apprehend those, perpetrators. It's quite sad. I mean, if you torch a school, if whatever reasons you have, there's no justification because really you derail the process. But now we need to go and check on where we're going to get money to refurbish the school. Beyond that as well, because it's 4 classes of the 8 in a block. So it means if the engineers confirm that we cannot use the other 4 classes, then it means we are minus 8 classes. So we need to have mobile units. So we really need to make sure that we have that. And the learner material that has been destroyed, we need to go and find the learner material because you cannot proceed with teaching and learning if you don't have that.
I know you've spoken about alternatives that you're looking at depending on what the engineers are going to say. So if someone is watching and their child goes to that school, can they be assured that by the time they get back to school there will be contingency measures either in the form of a mobile classroom or perhaps moving the children to alternative schools until it's safe?
No, we're working around the clock just to make sure that when we open the school, the tourists that to come, we should be in a position to say, this is how we're moving forward. We know your learner material, when we stock, we don't stock only the required. We will go probably, just beyond what we require so that in the event of anything, we're in a position to say, as a contingency plan, let's go back to the stock that is available, not in the school but somewhere else, and facilitate the process of, delivering those to the school that is affected. So our officials have already started with that process. We are hopeful that by the time we open the schools, we should be in a position to say this is where we're moving. And in the event they say we cannot occupy the block, we should be in a position to take the mobile units that we have already secured to go to other areas, probably prioritize the school and take 2 or 3 out of those, and they make sure that at least in that school we have teaching and learning.
Yeah, there is always a concern around placement of people in schools, especially when it comes to the Department of Basic Education and high schools as well. So that's not going to be an issue, is my understanding from what you're saying.
Look, we are challenged. Capacity, we are challenged. I mean, as we speak now, we have so many appeals to contend with. So we must accommodate those parents that have appealed. As they said, they don't want, some of the schools that we gave them. But unfortunately, if according to the information at our disposal, we don't have anything beyond what we have given them, probably the appeal will just say the school that is provided is the one that we have. Beyond that, we don't have anything. But there are those that genuinely they need to be attended to in terms of those appeals. Like, for instance, a parent that the school would not place because they say there's no documents. But when we check in the system, we can see that they've confirmed that the parent has submitted documents. So those, they need to be assisted. But, we need to reiterate that we have an issue when coming to capacity, and we want to accommodate as much as possible. But where we don't have space, unfortunately, we're not going to be in a position to can accommodate. But we will try to attend to all those that have appealed.
Okay, Mr. Mabona, very briefly, because I just want to deal with two issues before we get off the phone. The first is on this issue of schools being torched, things happening to schools. We know there's been an incident in the Vaal as well. Is there an investigation into whether or not these are isolated incidents, or perhaps there's a deeper malaise that's taking place?
Look, we'll rely on the police to assist us, but that's why we call upon members of the community to also, assist. We want to say to them, look, they need to be vigilant. I mean, if a school is in a community, things cannot be happening in a school while the members of the public will then not be seeing anything or hearing anything, because cannot be fixing a school at night. So they need to be vigilant and realize that if there's something that is happening, especially at night at school, then it means there's something amiss, which they then need to report to the nearest police station so that there's intervention.
All right, so let's end hopefully on a lighter note. Matric results are expected out soon. Gauteng, Panyaza Lusufi has said, is expecting a 90% pass result.
Well, we worked hard. We pushed. We made all efforts. We are positive that they will yield positive results. But matric results can come either way. So hence we are hopeful that probably they will then favor us. But we have worked so hard, and hence we left it to the learners to then justify on what it is that we've done. But we have worked so hard.
Thanks so much for your time. Steve Mabona, Gauteng Education spokesperson.